Welcome to the Stevia Show. It's the Stevia Show, helping you expand on what you know. Throw in a meme of the week and a review of the screen, and you have a show that covers everything.
Hey, Team Stevia. Welcome to episode 73 of the Stevia Show.
A talk show podcast that covers pop culture, world news, local artistry, and everything in between.
As always, this is Steven.
And this is Lydia.
And we hope you all are having a great day. This is weird. This is super weird.
This is really weird.
But we are making it work. This content ain't going to create itself. Hi, Matt. What's up?
I've got a visitor.
Yes, we all have visitors. Matt's apparently been watching the 2010 Masters.
Oh, it's even worse. Right now, as we speak, he's watching 2005.
2005? That's 15 years ago.
He's going back in time. I don't even know who he is anymore. He's a different person.
Is he aware that we were in middle school whenever 2005 happened?
He is aware. He is aware. I just don't know why he doesn't choose to do Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus. He wants to watch the 2005 Masters. So,
I mean,
that's where we're at in our social distancing world.
Gotcha.
How's it going over there in the Englishes?
It's going pretty good. I mean, can't complain. You really can't complain too much. I mean, we're making the most out of it, and this is what we're doing now. So, I mean, I'd like to think that last episode where we were only 4 feet away, now we are a few miles away.
Yes.
So, I mean, we can make up this fictitious story that the government shut us down, but that would be far too. I think that would be far too far fetched.
It would be
for today's day and age.
But we can say that Garland Winford shut us down because he watched our episode on YouTube, and all he like called me and was like, "You guys aren't 6 feet apart. You need to get your tonic drinks out of the thing. You need to do all these." He was like telling us that we were way too close.
Damn you,
and
Garland.
so hopefully. Now Garland is watching this on Monday, and he's very happy that this is happening.
Even though the quality is much lower, Garland, we hope you're happy. So, and I don't even have a drink at my desk. Like, this is how
I do.
This is how off this is, but we're going to go ahead and try our best to make this as normal as possible. Thank whoever is out there that this is temporary. We'll be back to normal before too long. But until then, this will be probably just for a few episodes, and we will go ahead and go from there. But the cool thing is I can actually put the meme of the week on here since I'm recording the screen. So,
oh my gosh, yes!
Yeah, so the meme of the week this week is from Dalton, who is the current edgelord in our Discord, which for you watching on YouTube, you are getting a little bit of a glimpse of that. And it is the meme of the gentleman who's crying, and then he has the cool sunglasses, and the sad part says, "Me quarantined for an entire month because of my medical condition," and then the bottom it says, "But Animal Crossing comes out at the same time." So basically, not a lot has changed since last week, with that meaning that it's just been a lot of Animal Crossing that's been keeping people going. That's been keeping me going, honestly, just hanging out with my animal friends and, boosting up my island and things like that. So that's been good.
Sure your island's good to go, getting your cherries and your strawberries and all the things.
Yeah, I mean, so strawberries isn't a fruit, but cherries is one of them. You can either have it's either oranges, cherries, oranges, apples, or pears, and I'm an apple island. Even though I wish I was a pear island, because pears, out of all 4 of those, are probably my favorite of the fruits.
Do you not get to pick your own island? It's just given to you?
As far as the fruit goes, yeah. But then you can choose your island layout, so that's pretty neat. But
that's cool.
But the fruits have always been kind of a random thing with Animal Crossing, and it's neat, because like you'll see in our Discord how people are like, "Oh, does anybody need cherries? Does anybody need coconuts? Does anybody need like XYZ?"
Oh, yeah.
So you're encouraged to like swap with your friends and things like that, which is really neat. So
that is neat.
As far as media goes, I don't think you've seen anything, but you do have at least a few updates, correct?
Yes. So I this week did not watch anything new. Matt did watch some things that he'd never seen before. One being Snowpiercer with Chris Evans. Such a good movie. He had never seen it before.
Okay.
So if you guys haven't seen Snowpiercer, do that. But I just have some updates about movies with new opening dates, because as you all know, all the movie theaters are closed and nobody's allowed to go to anywhere where lots of people are in existence. So just some updates. Black Widow's new home of November 6th used to belong to Eternals, which is another Marvel movie, which now goes out on February 12th, 2021, which was previously inhabited by Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Rings. The latter is moving to May 7th, 2021, displacing Doctor Strange 2, now set for November 5th, 2021, which prompted Thor: Love and Thunder to relocate to February 18th, 2022, Black Panthers 2 is now set for May 6th. Is still set for May 6th, 2022, while Captain Marvel 2 is moving up 2 weeks to July 8th, 2022.
So basically, Wakanda seems to be immune to this whole coronavirus thing.
Wakanda is so good to go.
First off, Wakanda forever, and second off, it's basically and second off, it's just weird seeing that this is causing this much of a domino effect, because of course by this time next year we're going to be talking about how we obviously got over this and stuff like that, but it's hopefully. Hopefully, I mean, I'm sure we will, but with that, it's just weird seeing that we are going to be having long-term effects. But I mean, thankfully, as of now, the long-term effects are movies being pushed back a few years or a few months. I mean, I don't know when these films were originally supposed to be released, but they're supposed to be
released like months before that. So basically, they just moved them back and then they interchanged everybody's dates. So 2022 is going to be a good year because a lot of things are going to come out. Another thing.
I was going to say, you heard it here first. 2022 is going to be a good year.
It's going to be a good year for movies, team.
Watch that we're saying this now, but 2022 somehow ends up being worse so far than the first quarter of 2020. So we'll see. We'll see about 2022. But as of now, the bar is not very high.
Not very high. Anything is better than right now, honestly.
It is. It really is. And then Disney has a few updates as well, correct?
Yes. So I think last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, I talked about how Disney decided to move Mulan. They decided with the date of July 24th, 2020. And then that date used to belong to Jungle Cruise, which has been pushed back a whole year to July 30th, 2021 now. So we were supposed to get Jungle Cruise this year, and now we're not. So that kind of sucks. And then Artemis Fowl is a new movie Disney is coming out based on the books. I don't know if you ever read them, but they're really good. So they decided to actually not even do a theater release anymore and just release it on Disney Plus. And they have not set a date for that yet. People are hoping for end of May. Is what I was reading, but nothing official.
Cool. Because as of now, the stay-at-home orders are still slated to end on the 30th. So we should see things starting to go back to normal, because the Surgeon General has said that this week right here is going to be the worst week. I think he actually called it the 9/11 moment, which is really sad, of course. But then I think this is where we're going to reach the tip, and then we're going to keep on going down. But time will tell, and we will of course keep you updated. Now, I do know that some movies, such as Onward, they were supposed to have the theatrical release, but then they actually released it at home. So did you do that? Did you watch it at home?
No, I watched Onward opening night in the theater.
Okay, because
then 2 weeks later, they when the theaters closed 2 weeks later, they announced that they're removing it from the theater and putting it on Disney Plus, and so it got on Disney Plus on the 3rd.
Oh, but do you have to pay extra for that?
No. It's free
really? Okay, see, that's what I was going to ask, because I know there's a few other movies that are doing that, where they're doing, I think, Trolls, whichever the new one is. I haven't seen.
Yeah, there are some where they're just doing digital release, where you have to still pay like the $20, but you can get it on your TV at any point in time.
Right. But that's cool.
Actually, Caleb Klein. I'm going to shout out Caleb Klein. Caleb actually went and poor guy. He bought Onward. He bought Onward last week on digital so he could watch it at home. He paid the $20, and it came out for free on Disney Plus, and he didn't realize that it was going to come out for Disney Plus. So I texted him, was like, Onward's out, blah blah blah, and he was like, what? I paid $20, and I said, oh my gosh. He goes, well, it was between that and Star Wars, so we picked that. And I said, well, don't buy Star Wars, because Star Wars is coming out in 2 weeks on Disney Plus. So I was like, just don't buy anything. Yeah, everybody, it'll be on digital soon on Disney Plus.
On something on Netflix, on Hulu, on Disney Plus.
Just don't buy it; it'll be fine.
Yeah, basically everything on PBS's live streaming service, whatever that might be.
Exactly.
Or maybe that could be like PSS, public streaming service. So if PBS wants to steal that from me, go ahead, because PBS is a great corporation, because it's funded by the public, and I don't care if they steal my idea, because it's made possible.
Because you're part of the public.
Right. It's made possible by viewers like us. Thank you.
Exactly.
All right. So, I mean, you all know this is coming, the COVID-19 updates. So, Lydia, we have, of course, some more grim news. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Womp womp.
Well, for this week's COVID-19 update, we have worldwide hit 1.2 million confirmed cases. The actual number is 1,260,104 confirmed cases. Of those confirmed cases worldwide, 258,588 have recovered. People have recovered. And of all of them, we've had 68,413 deaths. Now, the United States makes up for 330,605 of these confirmed cases. 16,794 people have recovered in the United States, and we have 9,445 deaths. So we are still leading. The U.S. is still leading in the total number of confirmed cases. Spain is right behind us. By right behind us, I mean they only have 130,000 cases. Their population is a lot smaller, though, than ours. Right. And then Italy, then Germany.
Right, and that's what we were kind of talking about last week, where it was kind of more upsetting, or not upsetting, startling that we surpassed China and not Italy and Spain, because the two of them were, of course, much bigger than them. I imagine Matt's doing something funny. So yeah, so with that in mind, and China isn't even listed on this graph that you have, because their cases have gone down. So that is at least something positive.
Well, I put that in air quotes. Well, right. They actually haven't even reported numbers since early March. So they haven't. They stopped reporting numbers. So
gotcha. But I do know
we don't really know.
I do know that China has lifted restrictions, and they're going to start doing that kind of bit by bit. So things are starting to go back to normal now. Of course, we do have a few things about China that we're going to say here in a second, but basically the United States and Europe, we're kind of at the epicenter, if you will, of this right now. And we are, like the Surgeon General said, we're about to be literally in the worst of it. So this is slated to be the worst week of COVID-19 in the U.S. So if that's any glimpse of hope, that means that we're reaching the top, and we're going to start going down, and we're going to keep on.
Hopefully. I still think we have about 2 to 3 weeks, because you have to remember that China, it actually started late December, and if they're just now coming back, this is April. So that's 4 months. And we, as the United States, we've only done stuff for 2-3 weeks, maybe.
Right.
So I would be actually surprised if this was the worst week and not in 2 to 3 weeks.
Gotcha. Well, and that's
in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's a fair point too. I mean, but of course, when it comes to government transparency between the United States and China, I think the U.S. is going to be way more honest about reporting numbers, and I do think that I think there's only 7 states that don't have a mandatory stay at home, and Oklahoma is one of them. But of course, we do have those orders, safer at home and whatnot. So that is going to be interesting, seeing how that goes down, and how us handling it versus how China handled it, how that's going to work. So hopefully what the Surgeon General is saying is accurate, and of course that is totally fluid. It can fluctuate, but of course the Surgeon General is going to have more knowledge than me, you, anybody listening to this. So, but of course, take that with a grain of salt, because this is always moving. You never know. Absolutely. So in the U.S., we do have the highest confirmed cases in the state of New York. It's devastating New York right now. It's really sad. So New York has 122,031 cases, with 12,187 recovered, and then 4,159 deaths. So that is, of course, very sad. So for those of us who do live here in Oklahoma, that is basically, if you were to put together Broken Arrow and Owasso, if the whole entire cities had COVID-19, that would be the whole state of New York. So of course our thoughts and everything are with them. Then followed by New Jersey, which is part of the Northeast megapolis, and they're at 12,187 recovered versus that's New York. New Jersey has 37,505 cases, 92 recovered, and 917 deaths, and then followed by Michigan, and then finally California, and then Washington State used to be the epicenter, but they have gone down. So again, that is cause for good news that we are, as the United States, we do seem to be handling it at least a little bit better than other countries in the world. But of course, that doesn't take away the suffering from the rest of the world. So our thought is with the world as we are adapting to this, and hopefully we are in the thick of it. So Lydia, what are the updates from the Oklahoma State Department of Health?
Yeah, so the Oklahoma State Department of Health says there are now 1,252 Oklahomans diagnosed with the coronavirus, and 46 people have died. 240 of those cases are in Tulsa. So I just wanted to give an Oklahoma update for that.
Cool. Sounds good. Or not cool, interesting, I guess.
Oh, busted.
Yeah, well,
You caught yourself, though.
I did, but it's contagious. So you started saying it, and this is kind of like whenever I was saying like a whole lot.
Right.
And then you pointed out that I replaced it with something else. So now I've caught what you've been saying. So that's that. So I would like to say that the mayors of Oklahoma City and Tulsa, that being Mayor David Holt of Oklahoma City and Mayor G.T. Bynum of Tulsa, I think the two of them have done a fantastic job in handling this, because Governor Stitt has been taking measures to do the Safer at Home initiative. He has closed all non-essential businesses. So I do want to applaud Stitt for that. I mean, I do think we should be in a statewide lockdown, but I don't think Oklahoma's infrastructure, especially in healthcare, with us being a widely rural state, I don't think we necessarily have the capacity to do a full shutdown. But I do think mayors Holt and Bynum are doing a great job in keeping the two most populous cities in Oklahoma under control. And actually, there's a really good piece that Mayor G.T. Bynum of Tulsa wrote for the New York Times. It's an op-ed, so it's an opinion piece. So if you want to look that up, it's a really good read, and it's about how he is a Republican mayor in a very deep red state and how he still decided to shut down the city. So it's a really good opinion piece, and he has another really good one in the Tulsa World as well. So again, shout out to G.T. Bynum for his leadership. And as stated above, New York is leading the United States in COVID-19 cases. So the governor of New York, that being Andrew Cuomo, whose brother Chris Cuomo actually has COVID-19, he is a contributor on CNN. But Governor Cuomo stated to PBS on April the 4th that China is sending 1,000 ventilator systems to the state of New York, and this is quicker than our own federal government. So that's kind of an F in the chat moment there. Yeah. And the state of Oregon is also sending New York 140 ventilators. So that's very nice of our statewide, basically our whole entire United States. We're all in this together. We're of course collaborating. So that's cool that the Pacific Northwest is sending out those ventilators, even though 140 might not seem like a lot, that's 140 more than what they had. So that's awesome that our states are working together. And basically, Cuomo stated that he wants all of this to be over. It's only gone on for 30 days since our first case. It feels like an entire lifetime. And for us and for me and you, for our listeners at home, yes, it feels like a lifetime, but could you imagine handling this?
No.
Yeah, that would only be so much worse. I mean, even though we of course have our opinions on how Governor Stitt's handling this, we might have opinions on how Andrew Cuomo is handling this, or basically governors, mayors, senators all across the nation. It's got to take a toll, and
oh yeah, and for sure, it's stressful.
It's got to be. I mean, it's stressful for us, just trying to figure out what the hell to do with ourselves for the next for the next few weeks. But thankfully, we're not handling it. I mean, that would knock at least, I'm sure, 5 years off of my life if I was trying to manage a whole ass state and how to handle COVID-19. I mean, again, I'm no medical expert, and neither are the majority of governors, and that's why thankfully we have our surgeon generals, our CDCs, we have our task forces that are all nonpartisan, where the government officials know that this is not their area of expertise. They have these experts, but man, I mean, that's just got to suck. Just handling all of this. Safely to say, I couldn't do it. So thank you, Governor Stitt.
Nor would I want to.
Yeah, nor would I want to. Let me make that very clear. Nor would I want to. I mean, I'm much happier doing this social distancing with you and I, and entertaining and informing the masses at home versus telling the masses what to do. I'd much rather be on this end of it. And I think, Lydia, you have one final piece of advice to give.
Yeah, this is my advice. Stay the hell at home, okay? Yeah. Let me tell you, it's just, come on, guys. Especially for the millennial generation, I feel like we, as a generation, have always dreamed of being able to just work from home and stay at home and watch Netflix when I want. Now, I will say I am one of those people that was like, man, I bet it would be so cool to just be able to work at home and just be able to lounge around. I actually, after day 10 of working at home. I am not a big fan of working at home. I don't like that my office is also where I have to live and eat and sleep.
Yes, exactly. And you
I
have
like
the whole
having the commute to work and having my own office there and just
Right.
doing whatever and then coming home. I like that.
You have to have two separate spaces. I totally
Yes.
agree with you. I totally agree. And now this is I'm totally losing track of days. I think I'm in my 4th week of quarantine because for spring break, Abby didn't get off for spring break, so she still had to work. So I didn't go anywhere. So I stayed at home doing housework, which is totally okay, but that was cool for a week. So I am now going into if spring break was the 16th.
This is our 21st day of actual quarantine because I didn't leave either. But this is I only had worked from home for 10 days.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm going into my 4th week of quarantine, and officially we are in our 3rd week of quarantine, and it's I've been seeing all of these memes that have crossed out like mun, twos, weds, and it just says day at the end,
just
and
day.
It's like that is so freaking true. And
last week I didn't even know what day it was until Thursday, and somebody was like, "Oh, tomorrow's Friday," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, and it was payday.
Friday?
And I'm like, oh, really? You know, like it's like it feels like it's.
You're like, oh, what am I going to spend this money on? I can't go anywhere.
yeah, and I've also seen a lot of people like again memes saying, I can't believe I've lived through like 4 decades, and it was like the 1990s, the 1990s, the 2000s, the 2010s, the 2020s, and March.
March.
Yeah, so it's been
Remember
crazy.
when we thought January was so long? March was even longer.
Yeah,
I swear.
It's basically just been one thing after another. I mean, with the wildfires in Australia, with Kobe Bryant's
oh my
death,
gosh, yes.
and now it's just been an onslaught of
2020,
stuff.
The end of times.
Yeah, and the weird thing is like this all like a lot of the similar stuff happened in the 1920s. So it kind of begs the question: does history repeat itself? But that's a topic for another day because we still have things to let you all know. But that's definitely something that I would like to explore, maybe in a bonus episode. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be an outstanding bonus episode. Now I would like to point out in this really neat infographic that you have, or I guess this map showing that there are orders to stay in place. So basically, everywhere has done statewide orders. And Governor Kay Ivey of Alabama, who we did criticize last week, she has now done a full-on statewide order. And so Oklahoma, South Carolina, Utah, and Wyoming all have order in parts of states, which is going to be basically the safer at home stuff, which is better than nothing. But according to this graph, or again, this map, it looks like the Dakotas, Nebraska, and Iowa don't have any sort of rule in place.
And Arkansas.
Yeah, so basically get on it and
my home state of Iowa. What are we doing? We're smarter than this.
Or you ought to be, but so I
you
guess
ought to be.
Yacht to be. That's gonna be a new. I like that. I think that could be a new Oklahoma. Yacht to be, because that's kind of like y'all. Because y'all is a pronoun for a group of people, and yacht can be a adverb or whatever. Whatever part of the sentence or whatever word function that is. I think that'd be great. So out of the UK, what kind of news do we have there?
Out of the UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, we talked about him last week. He was diagnosed with COVID-19. As of today, Sunday, April 5th, 2020, he has been hospitalized.
Gotcha.
So not cool for the UK Prime Minister. Another thing I like to report, of course, is about the Queen. She gave a rare speech on Sunday, April 5th. That concerns the coronavirus. And basically the message was how her people and the people around the world will prevail, and this will soon be behind us. And I say it's a rare speech because she usually only does speeches on holidays and in times of crisis. So I guess to her, this was a time of crisis and cause for a speech to try to uplift her people.
This is absolutely a time of crisis.
Around the world.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely good to hear from the Queen, and hopefully Prime Minister Johnson, I think he goes by Bojo. I think that's what the people call him, Bojo.
I think that's what the people call him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope he's okay. Oh man, you should have shown everybody the Queen Elizabeth Funko Pop that I got for you, but I think it's still in your car.
It's still my car.
Yeah, because I was supposed to go in your office, but we haven't been there.
Nope,
so
haven't been there yet.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, no big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and report the first two parts of this because I know you want to talk about the last part really badly because that's your theory.
For sure.
So Bloomberg reported on March 23rd, 2020, that China's mobile carriers have lost 21 million subscribers as the virus has been happening. So basically, there are 3 phone companies in China that you can choose from. That's kind of similar to here. I mean, I feel like we only have like 4 main ones, and then we have a lot of like smaller ones that are kind of regional or whatever. So all of which have reported decreases of about 7 million cell phone packages each since January. And Lydia, what's your alert here?
So I have a conspiracy alert, everyone, and you know how I love a good conspiracy theory. So basically, could China be hiding that the death toll from COVID-19 is actually 21 million people? Based on these reports, why else would 21 million people, why else would they just cancel their phones out of nowhere? Like, yeah, I know that they are, and I know what you could say. You could say, well, you know, a lot of people, they're not working right now in China, XYZ. Well, neither they aren't here in America, but I guarantee that people still have their phone packages. And with that, I also looked up, you know, China phones is what I like looked up. And literally every article that I read about, it was all about how people of China cannot live without their phones. Like, they have to have their phones for all kinds of technology that we don't even use over in America. Like, we use laptops and things like that. They use their phones more than they use laptops. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm saying 21 million people don't just cancel their phone plans.
Especially in like a coordinated attempt. So, I mean, the only other logical explanation is that there would be infrastructure issues, like meaning their cell towers would have gone down or whatever, causing service issues. But especially given the state of where we're at right now, I mean, I don't want to say 21 million people is the actual number, but I definitely think that China is downplaying their numbers. But of course, I have no evidence.
100%.
I mean, I have no evidence to back that up, but I mean, China's government in the past has done things like this, so I wouldn't be surprised. So that's kind of like I was saying earlier, that I am thankful that of course, you and I, we talk negatively about our government quite a bit because there are quite a bit of issues, but at the very least, our numbers are semi-reliable, and I don't think that there's a grand conspiracy in the United States. So, I mean...
No. I do think that this is a conspiracy in China, though. Another reason I do have, like, feelings of this is that, like, I don't know, just 21, the thing to me, the thing why I don't think people are really realizing it currently is because there's almost 1.4 billion with a B, people in China. So 21 million of those people, if they were to die, I mean, it would be just like a blimp on the radar for them. That's like, what, 0.02% of their whole population, right?
So oh, go ahead.
So I feel like a lot of people aren't reporting that maybe all these people are dying because maybe not a lot of people have noticed. And so this person that brought up this 21 million phone cases disappearing actually backtracked and went through all 3 phone companies. He went through their last like 5 years of phones. From January to March in like 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019. And it all showed an increase of 6 million every year. And then this year, the 1 year that this huge crisis happens, started in China. And now it's minus 21 million for...
Yeah. It's a little fishy.
It's fishy.
Now, I know 21 million, like you were mentioning earlier, like that's kind of a hard number to grasp. So I always like playing the, what's it called? I always like relating it to things. So 21 million is roughly 7 Mississippis. As in states of Mississippi, not like counting 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, because the population of Mississippi is 2.9 million people. So there are literally only 24,000 below 3 million. So if you were to basically, if this were true, that would mean that 7 Mississippis have died in China alone. So
Right.
that, of course, remains to be seen. I doubt we will ever get the full-fledged truth.
No, probably not.
As of now, I personally do not believe that 21 million people in China have deceased. Again, this is very fishy. I do think the numbers are being downplayed by China significantly, but I find it hard to believe that if 21 million people just poof, like, vanished, I feel like even in China there would be more reporting. But of course, that's yet to be seen.
But it's China.
Right, and I was literally about to say, out of all of the conspiracies that you've discussed on the show, this is the one that I think has the most merit to it. So I will, so I will give you that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. But we will. What do you all think, Team Stevia? Do you think 21 million people have died? I don't think it's that high. I also don't think China's official numbers are as low as they claim it to be. So what do you all think? Let us know, and we will talk about it together, I guess. So moving back to the United States, in the election, Vice President Joe Biden has told Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders that he is starting the VP vetting process. So CNN reported on April the 4th that Biden has informed Sanders that he started the VP vetting process. Biden stated, "I am in the process, and I have actually had this discussion with Bernie because he's a friend. We're competitors, but he's a friend." And then Biden went on to say that he didn't want Bernie to think, quote, that he's being presumptuous, but you have to start now deciding who you're going to have background checks done on as vice presidential candidates, and it takes time. So I think this is, of course, a logical next step for Biden. I, of course, am still upset that literally no major Democrat has called out Biden for the 8 women who have accused him of sexual harassment and sexual assault. I don't think that's a claim to be taken lightly, regardless of party. So shame on the Democrats for not bringing that to bigger light. I honestly
shame on all the news sources too.
Oh, that too. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, shame on everybody.
Shame on everybody.
Yeah,
nobody's even talking about it.
Except for regular people like you and I. I mean, like, I see it on Facebook. I see, my friends talking about it. But you know who I don't see talking about it? Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., who, Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar, Nancy Pelosi, like all these people who claim that they are so big into women's rights. And then if you have 8, which is a large number of women, I mean, even if it was just 1, you should still investigate that. But 8, like, that's quite a bit. Because we all remember what happened during the Stormy Daniels era of the Trump presidency, and it was heavily scrutinized, as it should have been, because sexual assault and sexual harassment are 2 of the worst things you can do. And it really makes the Democrats' position on women's rights seem weaker if they are only going to be battling it for one side. And I do wonder what would have happened if Bernie would have been accused by 8 women of sexual harassment. I think we would be telling an entirely different story. I think he'd be called on then by mainstream media, by prominent Democrats, to drop out because he's already viewed as an outsider. So that is all kind of weird, but I digress. There's nothing you and I can do about it except for, talk about how this is kind of BS on our mid-tier podcast. So I honestly think this is why Bernie is staying in the race, because I did predict a few weeks ago that Bernie would have dropped out in a few weeks. But then after I said that, this happened, and I think honestly that is what is keeping him in the race. And to that point, I now support him staying in the race. Like I was talking to you the other day that I accepted that he was going to lose. I was ready to support Biden, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden 8 women. I can't in good conscience.
Yeah, but I'm also kind of annoyed with Bernie because Bernie had a platform on The View this week. He had a platform.
Oh, he did. You're right.
15 minutes. He had at least 15 minutes because I sat here and I watched it on The View this week.
Right.
And Whoopi Goldberg was trying to just roast the crap out of Bernie, and at no point did Bernie bring up this thing on Biden, and that would have been his perfect chance to say, hey, this is wrong, and he still didn't do it. And so to me, that's still annoying. It's very irresponsible of Bernie, because if he really is going to stay in because he thinks that, people aren't going to vote for him since this Biden stuff came out. And I put that in air quotes because it hasn't even come out. Nobody's talking about it. So that would have been the perfect chance for Bernie to say, hey, let's talk about this.
Right.
What do you guys think about this? Hello, you know,
Right.
but
Yeah,
he didn't do it.
And I didn't even think about the View thing because I mean I don't watch the View, but I mean no worries. But
now
mean,
I don't typically, but I do now because I'm at home.
Touche. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's a good point. Good point one on the View and two on Bernie Sanders. I again, I didn't even think about that because I haven't seen him in a media appearance since. So yeah,
Right.
that is very annoying. So in that case, somebody from whatever side, I don't care, say something. That's all I want.
Yeah, can somebody just say something, please?
I mean, God forbid, even if it's like Mitch McConnell, who I loathe. I don't think anybody likes Mitch McConnell.
No.
But even if he says something, I'll be like, oh, okay, thank you, Mitch McConnell, for standing up for what's
Thanks,
right.
Mitch.
Yeah.
Finally, somebody.
Thanks, Mitch. Yeah, absolutely. Or who's your guy from Iowa? Chuck Grassley. He's another one of those really
Chuck.
old dudes. Yeah. So they could say something, but whatever. So basically, to end this, you heard it here first. Kamala Harris will be Joe Biden's vice presidential pick.
I love that.
If he picks anybody other than her, that will be a disaster. I mean, as much as I love Liz Warren, they are too close in age, and that is, I mean, okay, age is now the second thing, my second concern with Biden behind sexual assault, as it should be for everybody else. But I think that Kamala Harris would be the safest and not safest, the smartest pick for him. A safe pick would be Amy Klobuchar, but she and Biden are too similar. Again, not to knock on Klobuchar's qualifications because she very definitely is qualified. But again, like I mentioned earlier, that would be like a Clinton Kane scenario. It would be a very forgettable ticket. Yes. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's what we have to say about that. So what do we have? We do have something in the world of sports, Lydia. So what do we have there?
We've got some good news to almost end this podcast. So Kobe Bryant was named to the 2020 Basketball Hall of Fame. He joins 8 other members, which also include Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Coach Eddie Sutton, Coach Rudy, Tom Janovic, WNBA star Tamika Catchings, NCAA coaches Kim Mulkey and Barbara Stevens, and then an executive Patrick Ballman.
Nice. So surprising absolutely nobody, Kobe Bryant got inaugurated into the Basketball Hall of Fame, but of course we all wish he could be alive today to see that. And it would be cool. I mean, again, I'm not that big of a basketball fan, but I knew there was a petition going around closer to the aftermath of Kobe Bryant's death, where you know how the NBA logo is a silhouette of a player playing basketball. Mm-hmm. They wanted to switch that to Kobe Bryant, and I think that'd be a cool way to immortalize him. Yeah, I mean, because he already has both of his numbers retired by the Lakers. It makes me wonder if the league will retire his number league wide. I doubt it. There's only 2 athletes in all of sports to have their number retired league wide. That being number 42, Jackie Robinson of the MLB, because he was one of the major factors in breaking the color barrier in baseball. And then number 99, Wayne Gretzky in the National Hockey League, because to this day, nobody's even close to catching him in points. So I do wonder how the NBA will continue to memorialize Kobe Bryant, because I still think that we haven't seen the end of his legacy in the NBA. He was a crucial player. And it's also cool seeing Kevin Garnett. My younger brother, Taryn, loved Kevin Garnett growing up. That was his favorite player when he played for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then Tim Duncan, another hell of a player. Good to see him inaugurated too. So that is some good news coming out of the sports world. And side note, it actually is cool watching all of the leagues because out of all the leagues, I follow the NHL and Major League Soccer on Instagram, and they're all doing like NHL 20 and FIFA 20 tournaments like as teams. So they're kind of like getting into the whole like esports thing. So they'll pick like their best video game player from like the St. Louis Blues, and then they'll play against like the Chicago Blackhawks best.
Oh, that's funny. I love that.
Yeah, and then they'll live stream the game. So it's cool seeing the sports world kind of find creative ways to still incorporate sports into our lives instead of watching the 2005 Masters. Like I was flipping
wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Matt Mullen.
Right. So I was actually like scrolling through the TV Guide the other day, and ESPN and you know and NBA Network and NHL Network, they were all showing like the 2006 Stanley Cup Finals and like the 2010 like NBA Eastern Conference Finals.
It would be so much harder for them to literally just live stream like that? Like, why do they not live stream the professionals playing games? Like, that's funny. I would watch that on ESPN.
I would watch that over a historical sports event that I already know what happened. I mean,
that I could just Google who wins.
Right. And then even if it is a clutch game, like it's one that I'm recalling is the Western Conference semifinals in hockey last year, where it was between Dallas and St. Louis, and St. Louis scored a 2-OT goal at home to eliminate the Dallas Stars in Game 7, like picture perfect moment. But I don't want to watch the whole game whenever I can just search on YouTube Pat Maroon 2-OT goal. Right. And that's the part I want to see. Yeah, so I would much rather see, and even if it wasn't, like, make it even funnier. Like, if you could do like 2-on-2, because like console support for 4 players, you can have like your best video game player and your worst video game player playing for your team versus 2 of the other team. I'm totally with you. That is way more interesting than a sports match that 2005 Masters. Right. That I already know the results to, and I can just simply YouTube the highlights. But that's neither here nor there. So to end on another positive note, it is not all negative here at the Stevia Show. We would like to thank everybody who bought a shirt to support local COVID-19 relief. We do not know the exact amount since this episode was recorded a day before the sale ended. So if you're listening today, Monday, that being April the 6th, you still have like 12 hours or whatever to buy the shirt. So if you haven't bought it, buy it. But again,
buy it. Link below.
Yeah, link below. And of course, we cannot thank you all enough for supporting Tulsa's team through Tulsa's podcast.
Yes.
We are doing what we can. Even if we only sell 5 shirts, we are going to donate all of that profit to local COVID-19 relief, just to show the community that we love them and we care. But I think that's about it for today. Oh wow, we made it to 40 minutes. I'm kind of shocked. I thought this was going to be like a quick 25-minute episode. But we actually stayed on topic too. So we didn't even really scroll that much, I don't think. No, we really didn't. And also with this new virtual format that's temporary, again, go us. So I mean, if we would have done this at the beginning, this would have been a train wreck. So, yes, it would have. But thankfully we're not in the beginning. We're actually almost approaching our 3rd birthday. We are crazy. What are we gonna do? Something like this, I guess. I don't know, but we'll get it figured out. So 3 years gracing your media streams and whatever. We cannot thank you all enough, but we will do a big spectacular 3rd year thing whenever that time comes.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So stay tuned for episode 74, which is going to be coming out next week. Again, it will be in this kind of virtual format, so that's why the quality will be lower. But again, we are doing what we can to flatten the curve, and it's temporary. But again, this content ain't going to create itself. So we're going to go ahead and keep on doing what we do, what we think we do best, and that is what we think we do. Exactly, it's all in our heads, you know. So for all like 10 of our listeners, thank you, or whatever. Appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate you. So basically, you can follow us on all social media platforms with the handle at the Stevia Show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcast application you are listening to. If you are on YouTube, again, you can search for the Stevia Show and subscribe with the notification button. Hit the bell. Yes, we would like to also thank our anchor producers for their continued support. You can support us for as little as 99 cents a month and receive exclusive Discord roles and bonus episodes every month. Yes, and I really like that history repeating itself. We're going to do that. We are going to do that as a bonus episode. I love that. Yes, and we also have merchandise available through our links in our bios. But again, the one if you buy one thing from us, let it be the COVID-19 shirt today, Monday, April the 6th, because it's your last day, and we get nothing from it, and we don't want to get anything from it because we want to give it away. Correct. Just like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So when you visit us online, check out our link tree and click on merch, and we ship nationwide as well as always. So I think that's about it for us today. So as always, this is Steven. This is Lydia. And we will see you all later. Bye.